Business is exactly like dating. If you give up after the first rejection, then you will die single and broke. Here's the reality. 80% of signups require at least 5 follow-ups, but 44% of people quit after the first time. That's like going on a date, hearing no once, and swearing off dating forever. When I first was in corporate sales at 20 or 21 years old, I would publicly get embarrassed because my rejections were audible and accessible to my superiors. I remember I had a call with someone and I got so desperate to close the deal because I knew if I didn't close the deal, I was going to get fired, that I started laughing and mirroring everything that they were doing, to the point where one of my colleagues at the time looked at me like, is this kid okay? Because I got so amped up trying to close this deal and I reeked of desperation. I remember another time for another company, because obviously I got fired at that one, another company where I was on the phone with someone, and this is where I was getting better at sales, I was getting better at cold calling, but I either spoke too fast, and I still sometimes do that, or I just hadn't mastered my tonal pattern yet. I'm pretty good at tone, I like to think now. So I remember one time I had a guy super narcissistic, like ultra narcissist, and he was calling his staff peasants and things like that, peons. Mind you, this is a stranger, like me and him have just met for the first time over the phone. Super narcissistic guy. And he was in the automotive industry, and it gets to a point where I was overcoming an objection, and over the phone, he literally does like this. You're a feisty one, aren't you? Never in my life. I was so shocked at the level of disrespect that I wasn't even angry. I was just like, you know how narcissistic you have to be to tell a stranger to shh, like, I don't know who you are, bro. You know, so like, and then obviously I've been sworn at so many, literally earlier today, I said, fuck off. Actually, I didn't say fuck off. What happened was my staff called them, they called me back on our company number, and I didn't recognize the numbers. I was like, who's this? And they're like, who are you? And I was like, I asked you first, you called me. It's like, you called me. I was like, ma'am, you know, we have a lot of staff here. You might have been called by a different staff member, so I can point you in the right direction. What are you calling for? Or when did you call back? And by like the 15-second mark, she says, what are we fucking calling? And I literally just said this, I'm a professional. I was like, whoa, okay, all good, have a good day. Boom, hung up. Told the team, hey, this is the number. By the way, she was swearing, so just be ready. Like, so you really gotta be ready for rejection. You can't take it personally. I think a lot of people really struggle with dealing with rejection, but that's the nature of business. You know, you're not gonna be able to be in business a long time if you're sensitive to rejection. So three ways you can manage dealing with rejection. And number one is detaching your ego. And what I mean by that is yourself, the individual that is working, and then there's you that's in life, has friends and has their own ego, etc. But when you're selling to people, when you're like communicating to people in business, I'm just simply focused on the result. Like, whether it's me, whether it's not me, result. And I'm not saying be an emotionless, like, psychopath. I'm saying, like, you need to be able to be like, okay, this is a transaction that's occurring. Is the result there, or is the result not there? How can we get to the result? How can we find common ground for the result, for the sake of X result? That's it. Don't have your ego involved. And if people can't see that you are the medium to reach the goal, that's okay. Circle back in 3 months, 6 months, have a different team member. Maybe they need to receive the solution from a different staff member. I know that for some of my ads that we're running, we're about to shoot some more ads soon. Having a hot girl just standing there will convert more leads for a specific demographic of people. Having a white girl can say the same thing as I'm doing with SEO, 120 days SEO ranking for free. That will convert probably more white people, at least draw more white people to the landing page. And I'm not saying I am or currently am not running ads already doing that, but it's just being pragmatic of the fact that there are different things that will get the result. And you can't have your ego involved in that. A lot of people think they've got it, but they haven't understood what I've said here. And for those that get it, because they're probably getting results. The second way to deal with rejection is to master the follow-up, you know, automate it. For me, I use Google Calendar all the time. I use Pipedrive to send reminders to myself on when I need to follow up a lead, when it's been 90 days after it, or 180 days when it's closed, I close it off in there. It's really important to do that, because when you master your follow-up, that's when you really start to build momentum to beat people. Because most people don't follow up, especially Gen Z entrepreneurs. A lot of them are super soft. to be honest with you guys. Old school guys respect me because they're like, this 25-year-old, this 25, 26-year-old's like a legit business dude. Like he's not just like a marketer, he's not just a sales guy. No, he's got a legit company, and they know that a legit company takes ridiculous amounts of perseverance. There's people who followed up with for 4 years. I don't care if they don't. I'm follow up again next year. Cool. They're gonna watch me grow my company to the point where they're like, I better sign up with this guy. I saw him start from scratch. And also, the irony is nothing personal, because a lot of people start something from scratch and don't sustain the effort. So I don't blame them for not signing up when I was 20 or 19. I don't blame them, I get it. And if you don't want to sign up with me now, 5 years, no worries. Just know I might not be accessible 5 years from now. You might have to talk to my team. But you know what's crazy? As much as that sounds like a flex and it's cool, it's nothing personal though. It's nothing personal. All roots back to detaching the ego. So there's that. The third thing, and this is important, to celebrate wins. You know, nearly every day out of our 35 plus staff, my staff is celebrating wins. Win here, win here, win here, win here. And the reason why we celebrate wins is because we need to keep the positive loop reinforced. It's very important that people feel like they're progressing towards something. Super important. So those are just 3 quick things that you guys can do to deal with rejection better, but most importantly, to get to the result, which is to win.